Creamer Media's Mining Weekly Online is speaking to Niël Pretorius, the CEO of DRDGold. Niël, you've had some awesome results, and there's some awesome things that came up during the presentation of your results. And at question time, you referred to the great potential in Joburg still to actually remove tailings dumps and free up land and actually change the whole situation for the poorer people of South Africa who have been extended far out of Johannesburg and have to travel a lot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the line of tailings dams, of old mine dumps from Roodepoort all the way through to Germiston is a reminder, I think, of our political legacy, of the forced removal of people until, to beyond the horizon, to on the other side of tailings dams. And I think the opportunity is here for us now to, in collaboration with government, to do something about that, to make sure that we maintain an environment that is attractive for investment, to want to invest in projects like this, and to remove this once and for all. I think it will bring about a lot of healing and not having that artificial barrier between the two parts of Johannesburg. And certainly in terms of quality of life, the fact that these dumps are removed, people are living very close to mine dumps, much closer than I think had been anticipated at the time when they were closed, and they were probably rehabilitated or closed with the idea that nobody would be living closer than like 500 meters away from them. And now they're living right on the toes of those tailings dams. So from a health perspective, from a nuisance perspective, and ultimately also in terms of quality of life, of not having that long commute, having those removed and opening up the landscape will make massive difference, I think, to Johannesburg, and just, as I said, the quality of life of people living in Johannesburg.
I think the government should be falling over its feet to actually incentivize you to do something there, because the rewards are great. You're not only doing a fantastic environmental job, but it's a win-win. They should be paying you, but you're paying them hundreds of millions in tax.
We are. Look, and the fact is that we're a business, and I think we're managing it on business principles. I think what we would want to ask for is an enabling environment. So bring about the law and order. We're spending an absolute fortune on preventing the theft of cables and the theft of pipelines. We're spending a fortune on just keeping our people safe, not being attacked. Make sure that the tax environment remains favorable, so that we can invest capital and recover that capital the way that we do now. Don't bring about silly changes that will make it harder for us to do that, because the downside is that the dumps will just stay there. In order to set up something big enough that has the capacity to do this, it takes a long time, and it takes an absolute fortune. And we're very fortunate in the sense that we've developed this now over decades, the whole model, and we have extensive infrastructure. And with that, we also have a team of operators that has the skill set to do this in a sustainable way. So I think what we're saying is that it won't cost you a cent. Just create an environment within which we could build this and not have to worry about it being carried away, not have to worry about our people getting attacked, and we'll take care of business. We'll remove it.
But it fills all those initials of ESG, because, you're doing something brilliantly environmentally. Socially, you're doing something so important if you can get involved in actually nearing the city for people who haven't got funds. And then governance-wise, not allowing these thefts close to the city and the disguise in these dumps. So ESG could be really fulfilled. And would you be able to get green finance?
Oh, yes, I think we would. I think that there are lots of funds that are looking at ways and means of investing into this sort of thing, because it has meaning, it has purpose. And Martin, ESG it makes good business sense. ESG, the way that it's developed out of sustainable development, sustainable development did not become a success, or did not become a compelling strategy because a regulator thought it was a good idea to impose sustainable development. Companies like Procter & Gamble went and they proved that sustainable development is good for business. And we took up the same approach. The considerations of sustainable development, the impact on people, society, on the environment, and how that finds its way into the financial bottom line. Those relationships are compelling if they are designed in a smart way, in an intelligent way. If one takes a process of integrated thinking and creating business on more than one level, if one takes that approach into the strategic think tank. So I believe that it's an indispensable part of good business. And if you don't apply these principles, your business will not, you won't optimize your business. So I think it's a good story, and it's certainly something that if we do it right, if we continue to do it right, will add to the life of this company, and will add to the significance and purpose of this company, whilst at the same time generating good returns. And this year, with the gold price where it is, the way that it's been set up, I think demonstrates just how robust this model can be in the right sort of environment. And company's been around more than 120, 130 odd years, and there's no reason why it can't be around for another 30, 40 odd years, and cleaning up all of these mine dumps in and around the Johannesburg area, and also, further west. It's a good contribution, and I think it can make a real difference.
And Harry Oppenheimer may have invented this, but you guys have sure perfected it. I mean, you can take it even beyond gold now into all precious metals.
Yeah, no, look, I think perfection is still very much an ambition of ours, and it'll be perfect when we don't leave any minerals behind, when we don't leave any precious metals behind in our residue. At the moment, we're still leaving about half behind, and so there's a lot of room for improvement. But I think in terms of logistics and in terms of just setting it up in such a way that there's a measure of predictability and stability in the performance of the business, in terms of investing in risk and engineering and investing our way out of those risks, I think there's still a lot left to be done. And we think that also within the Sibanye group, there's a role for us to play. There's still some of the non-core surface assets which do not get market recognition in terms of adding to the capital stature of the business, and I think it'll be a good unlocking of value if those also find their way into the DRD brand, and we hope that we'll be able to be good custodians of those assets, that we won't embarrass them, that we will deliver into what is also a very important consideration for Sibanye and for Sibanye-Stillwater, and that is ESG as being part of green mining, driving the green agenda, driving sustainability. Their motto, their logo is "Our mining improves lives," and I think we're delivering to that value. So yes, we definitely hope to get to play a bigger role in that part of the Sibanye-Stillwater asset portfolio as well.
And on the energy front, I mean, energy is something we all need, and you seem to be taking a few steps to make sure you can store energy. Can you give us a bit of an insight into that?
Yes, certainly. So the near-term plans, which we hope to take to the board now, if not in October, at the very latest in February, but I mean we're targeting October, is power storage, which is really a modular stacking of batteries, so to speak. It's an oversimplification, but what it basically boils down to is that the charging of batteries during off-peak tariff time of the day, and then discharging those batteries during peak hours. And of course, it also acts as a sort of a power backup, and it also smooths the flow of current. At the moment, surges and dips are a big problem. It's referred to as dirty power, so it does have an impact on just the life of instrumentation and other sensitive equipment. So there'll be smoothing, and we'll be able to take advantage of just the price differential and drawing power between different periods of the day. And obviously, ultimately, the idea is also to supplement this, top this up with some PV capacity to do a lot of the charging of those batteries of solar power. And that's in the longer term. And I think the way that this is being structured nowadays, with companies setting up infrastructure and users of power entering into longer term offtake arrangements. It makes it, it brings it to sort of within our capacity, and within the capacity of most users to set it up in this way. So you don't have to go and spend hundreds of millions up front in order to generate your own power. The companies that are designed to do this, and you could become a client.
And that you're also making sure you don't use so much of the water that we need to drink. You're very conscious of cutting down on potable water use.
Yes, and that's also a good example, I believe, of a sustainable development strategy in action. So the water that we use instead of potable water comes from underground. It's treated mine water, or acid mine drainage, as it's called, and water that's recycled from sewage farms, sewage water. So as long as people flush, there's an availability of water, and that water is cheaper than the water that you get from Rand Water. And obviously, you don't want to be, the Voldam's only 40% full at this stage, so you don't want to be competing with the rest of Johannesburg for a scarce resource. So it makes sense. It makes business sense, and it makes environmental sense, and it also means that in terms of just the available usable water for the rest of this area, that we don't compete. We're not a burden. This year we didn't bring down our potable water usage. It stayed flat, but it stayed flat notwithstanding the addition of the Far West Gold operations. In the past, we'd set ourselves the target of reducing potable water usage by at least 10% every year, and we managed to sort of stick to that. And of course, although it's not a big number, every bit helps. It's quite a bit cheaper than potable water.
And it's amazing, the S as well. You've got really involved in the social, and you've done training of the people that live close to your mines. You've had great success in some of the training, and you also get people to grow their own food in their homes.
Yes. Martin, I never realized this, but it's a big thing for somebody to go to social service and say, I won't be drawing my pension. I won't be drawing down on the social allowance that I'm used to getting, because I'm now self-sustainable. There's an enormous amount of dignity in that, and we're seeing that happening now. Increasingly, people have started these little gardens, and they've expanded them into businesses. In many instances, we have more than 3,000 participants. These are families growing their own food. More than 200 have developed those into businesses. We hope to see many more of those. And this is now over a wide area. This is Merafong, Soweto, and Ekurhuleni. We're hoping to make use of that network that's been established through our partners, Umsizi. They're social entrepreneurs, and they're very good at this. And we hope to make use of that network to now take it to the next level. And for us, the next level means really putting a bit of an effort into the development of the informal economy. And we believe that the informal economy is the most likely means of taking large parts of society out of poverty. And we believe that it's underestimated in its complexity. We think it's not an unsophisticated economy. It is a sophisticated economy, but it's lacking in skills. So we've partnered with an academic institution to look at what skills are necessary to deliver into the needs of that economy, how it can be expanded, what's happening outside of the informal economy that should be happening in the economy. At the moment, we believe that a lot of the social grant money coming into those communities bounce and just bounce and then find its way out of that community. We want it to be spent over and over and again, so to create a bit of traction. And we think it's doable. We honestly believe that it's doable with the right skills and with the right stimuli. We think that those economies could become self-sustainable, and ideally, ultimately, the ideas for informal settlements to become villages, and to become villages through the efforts of the people who live there. Sustainable land use is a concept that I think is now taking root, and that solves the problem in terms of refuse as well, because if you want to use land sustainably, there's no room for refuse, and so forth and so forth. So it's an ongoing. It's the social equivalent of ongoing business improvement, and there's a hunger in those communities to do this for themselves, and I think that we can play a role in that regard. And our BLL program, the Broad-Based Livelihood Program, the urban agricultural one, with its reach, is an ideal platform to roll that out as well. And personally, I'm very excited about the next 10 years and how we could develop that.
And you're also serving your shareholders very well. This is the 13th year that you've paid dividends. It seems like you're consistent in remining what is mined before.
I really think that if a dividend is a priority in a company, then it breeds good financial governance and financial management practices. It's a discipline around knowing that something needs to go to the shareholders. We need to remind the shareholders that, first and foremost, we're a business, and we're wanting them we want to reward them for putting their capital into this company. I think it's a good mindset, and we hope to continue to do this going forward. We've been avoiding debt now for many, many years. Initially because nobody wanted to give us any, and nowadays simply because we don't need it. But even if we are to take up a bit of debt going forward, and you made the point earlier of green bonds and so forth, I think those opportunities are very much there, or fixed income green bonds. Even if we do create instruments like that and do take on a bit of debt, I do hope that we'll be able to sustain cash flows to continue with the payment of dividends. It's an important part of who we are and of our identity.
That was Creamer Media speaking to Niël Pretorius, the CEO of DRDGold.